My wife's mom humiliated me at our wedding, called me just a mechanic in front of everyone. Then she tried to tank my business with fake reviews. So we exposed her fraud to her boss, her clients, the chamber. Now she's the one unemployed. The room fell quiet the second Becky clinked her champagne glass. It was the usual signal for a toast, but I had a weird feeling in my gut, that tight, humming kind of silence before something bad happens. I glanced at Ava, who was mid-conversation with her cousin, and she gave me a little smile like everything was fine. It wasn't. My daughter, Becky began, her voice sharp as the clink of her glass, always had a taste for fixing broken things. So it's no surprise she ended up marrying a mechanic. The laughter wasn't immediate. People looked around, unsure if they should chuckle. I sat there frozen, my fork halfway to my mouth. I didn't need to look at Ava to know she was seething. Becky wasn't done. Don't get me wrong, she continued. Holding court like this was some roast and not our damn wedding reception. Working with your hands is noble. But let's be honest, how's he going to provide long-term? My Ava, with her education and ambition. Well, she could have done a little better. That did it. A few guests laughed nervously. One of Ava's high school friends actually pulled out her phone like she was recording the moment for TikTok. I heard a guy near the bar whisper, "Oh damn." I set my fork down and stood up, but Ava beat me to it. "Mom," she said, loud enough to cut through the murmurs. "Stop." Becky blinked like she hadn't expected pushback. "I'm sorry you're embarrassed that I married someone who doesn't wear a suit to work," Ava said, walking toward the mic. "But I'd rather have a man who shows up for me every single day than a plastic trophy husband who lies about his LinkedIn job title." There were a few gasps and one low whistle. "And for the record," she went on, turning to the crowd, "I make more than him. I'm a research assistant on a federal grant. My student loans are gone, my car's paid off, and guess who helped me learn how to budget? This man, my husband." Becky opened her mouth, probably to spin it all, but then Ava's dad, Lawson, leaned back in his chair and slow clapped, real loud and sarcastic. "Brava, Becky," he said. "Really a shining moment. Bet the neighbors will be talking about this for years." That's when Becky's face cracked. Just a twitch, but it was there. That look people get when the spotlight turns the wrong way. I wanted to say something, maybe wrap an arm around Ava, but she didn't need it. She was steady. She looked at her mom like she was done being the daughter who played nice. The reception limped on after that, but the energy never bounced back. A few people tried to dance. Others whispered and avoided eye contact. Becky sat stiff in her chair, barely touching her plate, while the rest of the room pretended they hadn't just watched a live family implosion in real time. I'd spent most of the night thinking about the honeymoon, about quiet beaches and sunburns. Instead, all I could think about was the line Ava had drawn in the sand, and how proud I was that she'd drawn it right in front of everyone. I woke up to the sound of my phone buzzing against the nightstand. Over and over. I rolled over, still half asleep, and grabbed it. 11 missed calls. 3 voicemails. All from numbers I didn't recognize. One was from someone named Tina, brake pads. That one clicked immediately. I sat up straight. Another buzz, this time a text from an old client, Mr. Weller. "Hey, just wanted to confirm. Is it true your shop doesn't stand behind its work anymore? Need to know before I bring in the Tacoma." My stomach dropped. I swung my legs out of bed and pulled on a shirt. Ava stirred next to me. "What time is it?" she mumbled. "Not even 8, I said. "But something's wrong." I stepped out into the hallway and started calling clients back. 3 of them had seen the same thing. Facebook posts tagging my shop's page. A woman named Karen Holbrook said she'd seen a warning from someone's mom about shoddy repairs and sketchy billing. Another said a lady named Becky was spreading that I'd jacked up the prices after quoting low. Becky. I didn't need a detective to figure it out. Ava came out in her robe, a mug of coffee in one hand. "What's going on?" I handed her my phone. She scrolled for a second, and her face changed. That tight, dangerous look she got when she was really pissed. "She's already starting," she muttered. "I thought maybe she'd let it go after last night," I said. "Guess not." Ava turned on her heel, stormed back into the bedroom, and came back with her laptop. Within seconds, she was on Facebook. She didn't even have to search long. Becky had tagged my business page in a vague but damning post. "Weddings show true character. Would you trust your family's safety to someone who cuts corners on brake lines?" Hundreds of likes. A few people chiming in, saying stuff like, "Yikes, who is this?" or "Glad I never went there." No one knew the context. That's how it starts. One lie, and suddenly you're on defense. "She's trying to burn it down," I said quietly. "Then let's torch her first," Ava replied, already screenshotting everything. I'm done being polite. I watched her move with this razor-sharp focus. Calm, but seething. This wasn't some emotional outburst. She was building a case. "I'm going to post a rebuttal," she said. "Tag her directly. Make her squirm." "Don't." Not yet, I said. Let's do this smart. She looked up. I want to get everything, I said. Screenshots, client statements, even texts if she sent any. If we go public, we go loud and we go clean. Ava stared at me for a second, then nodded. Okay, then I'll start digging. The rest of the day, I fielded calls. A few loyal clients called to say they didn't believe a word of it, that they knew me better. But some were clearly on the fence. That was what stung the most. I'd spent 10 years building trust, and Becky was tearing it down in a single weekend. But as Ava typed furiously at the kitchen table, her jaw clenched and her coffee long forgotten, I realized something. She wasn't going to let her mother win. And neither was I. This wasn't just about my reputation anymore. This was war. Dinner at the Lawsons was supposed to be a quiet Sunday thing. Just the immediate family. Pot roast, mashed potatoes, small talk, that kind of meal. But nothing about this Sunday was going to be small. I sat at the end of the long oak table, my plate untouched, watching Becky pour herself a second glass of red like she didn't have a care in the world. Ava was next to me, unusually silent. Haven, her younger sister, sat across from us, picking at her food and pretending not to notice the tension. Looks like business is rough these days, Becky said suddenly, not even looking up. Saw a few posts about the shop. Hope that's not hitting too hard. I swallowed back a sharp reply. Ava didn't. Save it, she said, folding her napkin and setting it down. We're not playing this game tonight. Becky raised her eyebrows, like she was being attacked for no reason. Excuse me. You're excused, Ava snapped. In fact, let's just cut the crap and get to the part where you admit you've been spreading lies about my husband's business. Lawson paused mid-bite. Well, this escalated. Ava turned to me and gave the slightest nod. I pulled my phone from my pocket and slid it across the table. Go ahead, I said. Take a look. Becky hesitated, but curiosity got the better of her. She tapped the screen. Her eyes moved across the post I had pulled up. Her own words, from a Facebook group for local real estate agents. Word of advice. Maybe steer your clients toward mechanics who don't botch fuel pumps and blame the customer. Ask me how I know. Ava leaned in. We did. We asked. And 3 of your concerned friends sent us screenshots. You've been targeting his clients one by one. And you didn't stop there. She pulled up her own phone and opened her messages. Want to explain this one, Mom? She held the phone out so everyone could see. A text from Becky to someone named Diane. Ava's blinded by love. She'll see who he really is when the lawsuits start rolling in. I'm just warning people before it's too late. Becky's smile faltered. That's taken out of context. Oh, please, Haven said suddenly. She set down her fork and sat up straighter. I've seen it too, Mom. You've been talking trash about him for months. Acting like we're all idiots for trusting him. You even messaged one of my coworkers trying to scare her out of getting her car fixed there. Becky opened her mouth, but Ava wasn't finished. You want context? She said. How about the fact you're jealous I didn't end up with some corporate ladder climber you could brag about? You didn't care about what he did for me. You cared about what it looked like. Becky stood up abruptly, wine sloshing. You have no idea what you're talking about. No, I said, standing too. Then maybe you'd like to explain this. I took out the small folder I'd brought. Inside, printouts of anonymous reviews she posted, client emails she'd forwarded to herself, and a note one customer sent me, saying Becky had warned her to look elsewhere for repairs. You've been sabotaging me since before the wedding, I said. And I've got the timestamps to prove it. Becky's mouth opened, then shut. Her hands trembled slightly, and for the first time, she looked rattled. I should have known, she said bitterly. You were always good at playing the victim. And you, Lawson chimed in, his voice drier than ever, are very good at playing the martyr. Bravo. No one said a word. Haven looked down. Ava crossed her arms. Becky tried one last jab. You think this makes you look strong? Threatening your own mother-in-law. Ava's voice was quiet, controlled, deadly. No, this makes us done. It didn't take long. By the following week, things started unraveling. Not for us, but for Becky. It began with a message Ava got from one of Becky's former clients. A woman named Tessa who had worked with Becky for years texted her out of the blue. Hey, I saw what went down. I always thought something was off about your mom. She tried to talk me out of working with your husband, claimed his business was under investigation. Total lie. I'm done with her. 2 days later, a second message came in. Then a third. Real estate clients, long-time ones, were quietly backing out. Some shared screenshots. Others just said they couldn't trust someone who lies so easily. It was slow at first, but steady, like a ship with a slow leak no one could plug. And Becky? She didn't even see it coming. I was in the shop late one evening when my phone buzzed. An old customer, Will Hartman, sent a message that hit different. Hey, just wanted you to know, I heard what Becky said about your shop. I didn't believe it. You've always done right by me. If anything, I'm doubling down. Sending my sister's car your way next week. I stood there in the back office, holding the phone for a long moment, feeling something I hadn't felt in weeks, relief. Ava walked in a few minutes later, her hair pulled up, still in her work clothes, with that fire in her eyes. "She's panicking," she said, sitting down across from me. She tried to call one of her old clients, Janice, to clear the air. Janice didn't buy it. She already emailed the brokerage. It's starting to reach her boss now. "And the Chamber of Commerce?" I asked. Ava nodded. Lawson filed a complaint himself. Brought up how she slandered a local small business. "They're launching a review." Of course he did. Lawson had been quietly enjoying every minute. He'd started forwarding us little tidbits, emails Becky had sent during their marriage, where she trashed Ava's decisions, insulted Haven's intelligence, even joked about trading up to a more successful husband someday. He never said, "I told you so," but the grin he wore the next time we saw him said plenty. That week, we got more support than I ever expected, not just from customers, but from people in the community. Folks who had been tiptoeing around Becky for years. One local realtor messaged Ava directly. "I'm embarrassed I ever partnered with her. Everyone's known she's toxic. We were just too scared to say it." Not anymore. It wasn't instant, but it was real. Her reputation, the one she'd spent years propping up with wine mixers and fake smiles, was collapsing. One quiet call cancellation at a time. I was closing up the shop when the doorbell rang, not the usual customer chime, but a hard, impatient knock. When I opened the door, Brittany was standing there. Brittany, Becky's business partner. She looked nervous, clutching a manila folder tight to her chest like it was gold. Or maybe dynamite. "I can't keep working with her," she said. No hello, no small talk. Just that. "She's going to take us both down." I let her in, unsure what this was about but sensing it was big. Ava showed up 10 minutes later, already on alert when I called her and said, "You're going to want to hear this." We sat in the back office. Brittany didn't even wait for a coffee or water. "She's been cooking the books," she said. At first, it was small stuff, shifting client commission splits around, not logging certain payments. But then, she started forging signatures. She opened the folder. Inside were copies of contracts, digital logs, transaction summaries. One by one, Brittany laid them out. "Look here," she pointed. These commissions were supposed to be split 60/40ths. But she rerouted the full payment into her own account. I found 6 more like it. Ava picked up one of the papers and scanned it. "Is this my dad's name?" "Yeah," Brittany nodded grimly. She used Lawson's credentials on 3 deals after their divorce. Said it was just to get better rates, but I checked. He didn't know anything about it. That was fraud. Clear and dirty. It didn't stop there. Brittany looked right at me, then at Ava. She also used Haven's social security number to apply for a business line of credit. Ava's eyes widened. "What?" She said Haven owed her. That she never paid her back for some old tuition money or something. It was like she thought it was justified. That's when Haven walked in. I had forgotten Ava texted her. She stood in the doorway, arms crossed, looking like she'd aged 10 years in the last month. "She really did it, didn't she?" she said quietly. Ava didn't respond. Just nodded once. Haven stepped forward and dropped her own envelope on the table. "I found these in one of Mom's old file boxes. She kept everything, even stuff she shouldn't have." Inside were printed emails, one from Becky bragging about how easy it was to shift credit around using Haven's ID. Another where she called me a glorified grease monkey who wouldn't last a year. I didn't flinch. I had stopped feeling surprised by her a long time ago. Ava looked at me, her expression unreadable. Then she stood, slow and steady. "She crossed the line," she said. "This isn't just sabotage. It's criminal." Brittany leaned in, voice low. "I'll help you take her down. But you've got to promise to protect me if she turns on me." I nodded. "You're doing the right thing." Ava didn't hesitate. "We're done playing defense," she said. "It's time we go nuclear." We weren't just fighting rumors anymore. Now, we had evidence. We had motive. And we had a plan. The next move would be legal and permanent. We gave Becky the courtesy of being the last to know. Ava and I spent the next 2 days putting everything together. Brittany was with us, late into the evenings at our kitchen table, scanning files, forwarding old emails, even digging up voice memos Becky had accidentally left recorded on shared work calls. We had a folder the size of a phone book. And every page in it was like a nail in the coffin. Forgery. Fraud. Identity theft. Defamation. Wire fraud. We could have gone straight to the authorities. We still planned to. But first, we wanted to make sure her empire, the one she built by stepping over people and sweet-talking her way through networking events, collapsed in broad daylight. So I wrote the email. Subject line, concerning the professional conduct of Rebecca Lawson. Recipients, her brokerage leadership, all her major clients, the local Chamber of Commerce, and every real estate group she regularly posted in. I attached the evidence. Just enough to show it wasn't gossip. Screenshots, financial summaries, excerpts of her own emails. I didn't include everything, just the parts that couldn't be explained away. Then I hit send. And waited. It took exactly 3 hours. By the end of the workday, we heard from Lawson first. He called Ava, voice smug. Got a call from the chamber. Said I might want to distance myself from Becky's mess if I want to stay a member. Told them I already have. Nicely done. Then a message from Brittany. For clients canceled today. She's freaking out. Becky didn't stay quiet for long. She showed up at my shop the next afternoon, storming through the garage like she still had clout. Her heels clicked across the concrete like gunfire. You, she screamed, eyes wild. You ruined my life. I walked out calmly, wiping my hands with a rag. My guys all stopped what they were doing and watched from a distance. I didn't ruin anything, I said. You did that all by yourself. She pointed a shaking finger at me. Do you know what you've done? I've lost 2 listings already. My boss is suspending me. I could lose my license. You should, I said simply. You lied. You stole. You tried to destroy me. And for what? Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Just a stutter of breath and fury. I gave everything to this family, she hissed. No, Ava said, stepping up beside me, calm and steady. You took. And now it's your turn to lose. Becky's eyes darted between us. She looked smaller somehow. Not physically, but like someone had finally unplugged the performance. The desperation behind her eyes was raw. You think this is over? She spat. No, I said. I think it's just getting started. She stormed out, her tantrum echoing through the shop. Behind me, one of my mechanics muttered, Jesus. But all I felt was stillness. We had fired the first real shot. And Becky? She was bleeding. Brittany met us at the coffee shop 2 days later, hair tied back, no makeup, eyes full of something I hadn't seen in her before. Purpose. Not nerves. Not guilt. Just clarity. I'm done hiding behind her, she said. And I've got a proposal. She slid a folder across the table. Inside, her exit plan. She was leaving the agency, breaking the partnership, and taking her client list with her. Everyone's jumping ship anyway, she said with a shrug. Might as well give them somewhere better to land. Ava and I exchanged a look. We'd been toying with the idea for weeks, merging our work into something bigger. My shop was doing well again, and Ava's research project was wrapping up. We had capital, clients, and now we had Brittany. By the end of the week, the paperwork was signed. A&B Solutions Auto and Property Services. A weird combo on paper, but in our town, it worked. Ava's business sense. My technical know-how. Brittany's network. We offered concierge-level car servicing and private real estate consulting for high-net-worth clients. People who didn't want to chase 24 professionals. They wanted one team that handled everything quietly and with class. And best of all, Becky was nowhere near it. Word spread faster than we expected. Brittany had connections, and once she posted her goodbye letter, a perfectly polite, devastatingly professional post thanking certain mentors for showing me exactly what not to be, people flocked to us. Clients, contractors, even a few agents from Becky's own agency sent feelers. Meanwhile, Becky's business didn't just slump. It collapsed. Her brokerage suspended her indefinitely. The chamber blacklisted her events. Clients withdrew listings. 2 even threatened lawsuits over mismanaged funds. She tried to post a teary video on Facebook. Some performative, shaky cam nonsense about being misunderstood and betrayed by people I once loved. But the comment section lit up before she could even finish. You forged your daughter's signature. Didn't you defame your son-in-law online? Loyalty goes both ways, lady. After that, she went silent. Ava, for her part, didn't flinch. She blocked the number, ignored the calls. When Haven told us Becky had tried to show up at her apartment sobbing in the hallway, Ava just shook her head. Let her cry, she said. I'm not her cleanup crew. We launched A&B quietly. No big ribbon cutting. No press. Just an email to our new clients. An announcement on LinkedIn. A couple of private thank you gifts to people who helped us along the way. And just like that, the business took off. We worked late nights, weekends, holidays. It was exhausting. It was insane. And it was ours. Becky tried to burn my life down. She lit the match, doused the fuel. But we built something better out of the ashes. Without her. The silence around Becky used to be gold-plated. The kind of hush people gave you when they feared you. That careful politeness that came from power, or at least the illusion of it. But now, it was different. Now it was the kind of silence you give someone you've already written off. Her old social circle evaporated. People who once shared wine nights and gossip with her stopped replying to her messages. Realtors unfollowed her. That local yoga studio she used to tag in every Instagram post? They blocked her. The worst part? She still tried to fake it. Haven showed us one of her mom's Facebook posts a couple weeks later, a selfie with some vague caption about letting go of toxic people and thriving in solitude. But Ava zoomed in on the photo and pointed out the corner of an eviction notice peeking out from the countertop. Her lies had gotten lazy. Then one afternoon, Haven called Ava. You need to hear this, she said. I told her I'm done. She came by our office the next day, tear-streaked but clear-eyed. Haven, the quiet one, the peacekeeper for years. She sat across from us and said she stole from me, lied to me, used me, and I still made excuses. We didn't say anything. Not anymore, she added. I told her not to contact me again. That same night, Becky called Ava. One last time. Ava let it go to voicemail. We sat on the couch, curled up under a blanket, just listening. Sweetheart, Becky began, her voice raw, like she'd been crying. I made mistakes. I know I did, but I'm still your mother. And I don't know how to fix this. Please, just talk to me. Please. No apology. No ownership. Just desperation. Ava deleted the message without saying a word. Then she turned to me and whispered, I feel nothing. She wasn't lying. The years of disappointment, of walking on eggshells, of hoping her mother would change, they had hardened into resolve. Becky's consequences weren't just financial anymore. She was legally exposed, professionally disgraced, socially exiled. And now, she was alone. I heard from Lawson a few days later. He ran into her at the grocery store, said she looked tired, thinner, like someone who hadn't slept in weeks. She tried to make small talk. He didn't entertain it. She still doesn't get it, he told me. Still thinks it's a misunderstanding. That someday, you all will come around. But we won't. She burned every bridge, and then blamed the smoke. Now she gets to sit in the ashes, wondering why no one will hand her water. We moved on. New business. New clients. A home filled with laughter and quiet mornings. She gets none of it. And that's not revenge. That's just justice.